In this video I'm going to show you how to hone a cylinder. This is a cylinder for an XR80, and what we're going to do is deglaze the cylinder, and if you look down the cylinder you can see that it's shiny, and that's basically what we're going to do is break the glaze out of there, so when we put new rings in they will seep and it won't smoke. So to get started is we've cleaned up the cylinder and we want to mount this in the vise. And now that I have my cylinder mounted in the vise, I'm going to grab my hone and hook it to my cordless drill. Collapse my hone and stick it in there. The goal here isn't to take a lot of material out. The goal here is to turn slowly and get a 45-degree angle hatch pattern on my cylinder wall. Add a little bit up. Do it. Cylinder out. Wipe it out. Now that I'm all done, you can see the nice crosshatch pattern on the cylinder wall. And that way the rings will seat. After honing the cylinder, you want to wash the cylinder in a bucket of soapy water to get the grit out. That's what we're going to do. After that, rinse it off and blow it out with air. Take a clean rag and wipe the cylinder down. Put a light coat of oil on the sleeve to keep it from rusting. She's ready to install. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to make sure your head surfaces are flat. This is a piece of fine emery, 320, and this is a lantern ground flat steel plate. Any flat surface will work. The flatter the better. Your head won't be any flatter than the surface you use to do this with. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the head and I'm going to set it on there. Now there's an exhaust part that falls below that, so I got to stay away from there. And I'm just going to take it. I already got something really high, yeah, right there. A real high where the timing chain, if you look, you can see the timing chain was hitting there and it's made a ding there. Okay, and that's like gotta go, or my head gasket is going to leak there. See it scraping? I'm even just going to go get a file and take that off. Move it around a little bit, and if I flip it over it will show me any high spots, and this one's pretty flat, a little bit high there or low there, see some there, so I'm just going to keep working it a little bit. And it really doesn't take that long. See, I still got a little bit here, a little bit. And you don't want to go all in one direction, you just kind of... And you can start to see that it's like there was a few little high spots there, and not too bad. We'll do a little bit more and then this will be done. And that's pretty good. You can see where the milling marks were, and that's probably pretty flat. The goal here isn't to take off a lot of material. The goal here is to make sure the head is flat and the cylinder is flat, so when I put the two pieces together the gasket seals well. Looks like I'm a little low there. It's really starting to come in, and I have to do a little more. It's best to use a circular pattern. And that looks pretty good. Now I know that this is nice and flat and I don't have any high spots and my head gasket will seal. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. In this video I'm going to show you how to cut valve seats. So let's get started. When I pulled the head off, this is the choke flapper, which the engine sucked through and made a mess out of my valves. What you need is a valve seat cutting tool. This is a valve seat cutters by New Way. These are all the cutters. These are 15 and 60 degree, 46 and 31 degree. We really only need the 45. Start by getting the right valve guide pin. Slide it in there, put the cutter on, need this handle. And you need a few turns by hand. Now the goal here is not to take a lot of material out. Pull this out and inspect the valve. Look at that. Looks, I don't know if you can see it, I'll rotate it, but it looks brand new. If there's any dings or gouges, you want them gone. So now I'm going to do the intake part. Put the same guide in there, 46 degrees. Inspect where it cut. And I still have a couple of little dings and things in there that I want to get out. Stick the guide pin back in. Burrs. Give it a few more turns. Now it looks like it's cleaning it up pretty good. The next step will be to lap valves. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. In this video I'm going to show you how to lap valves. You'll need some valve lapping compound, and you'll need some dicum. This is just dye to mark metal. What you want to do is put some dicum on your valve seats. And basically what you're doing this for is so that you know that the valve has completely seated. Not only do you want to do the seats, but you also want to do the valves. Just fill them full of dicum and we let them dry. To start, we'll just put a little bit on it. You don't need a lot. You do want to put a drop of oil on the valve stem, just for lubrication. Push it in. I know you guys have all seen these suction cup valve tools. If you got one, you'll find out it's pretty difficult to use. So what I use is an electric drill. Now again, the goal here isn't to take a whole bunch off, it's to get the valve seat ground in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in a good old bit. And I'm going to push a piece of rubber hose on there. Push the rubber hose on the end of the valve. See how I'm doing that? Now when I push it in, I'll watch. See the valve? Okay, so I'm not going to go real fast, but I'm going to use my finger as the pressure. Go both ways. sometimes it helps if you put a little bit of spray lube on it. Helps it thin the compound. And here it cut. Go both directions. And then just pull the rubber hose off and inspect. Pull the valve out. And wipe the compound off. And inspect the valve and make sure that it's seated all the way around. And it looks pretty good. And if you wipe off the seat, you can see where it's hitting. Okay? And then you want to measure it. Make sure the seat width is about correct. And we're after about 1.1 to 1.3 millimeters. Pretty close. It will work. So that one's done. That's the exhaust valve. Now we'll repeat the process for the intake valve. Whether you're putting new valves in your bike or just recutting them or grinding your valves or recutting your seats, you want to lap your valves to make sure everything seals. Even if you buy all new parts, you still have to lap the valves to the head to get a good seal. After I'm done with the valve lapping compound, wash all that stuff up in a bucket of soapy water. I'm going to take an air gun and blow it out good. And then oil up any cast iron parts because they will rust. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. In this video, I'm going to show you how to check your valves to see if they leak. Now make sure you do this in a well-ventilated area. If you don't have fancy test equipment, which a lot of people don't, this is how you can simply test to see if your valve leaks, and it shows you which one it is. So let's get started. What you do is you set your head up flat, put some stuff underneath it so it's level, and put the spark plug in it. Okay? And what I have here is a little bit of gasoline. And all I'm going to do is fill the dome up. And I'm going to let it sit. And if these valves leak, that gas would be gone. And so I can look in each port to see which one's dripping to tell me which valve is bad. Shine a flashlight in the hole, and if they're leaking, you'll see gas dripping through there. We'll check the other side. Those are holding too. They'll be dripping out the port. So it looks like these valves are good. They don't leak. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. There are two adjustments. This is the main adjustment, and this is a fine-tuning adjustment you can adjust while the engine's running. Before we start tuning any nuts and bolts, let's take a look at the cam chain tensioning mechanism and make sure we understand how it works. Note that there is a rough timing chain adjustment and a fine timing chain adjustment. Set the engine to top dead center on the compression stroke. To set this initially, you want to loosen everything up. Okay, so we just crack this loose. I loosen the lock nut and I back this off. Okay? As a matter of fact, let's just take the lock nut right off. Now, to set this one correctly, you want to turn this adjuster. See how this adjusts? Let me show you what it does. When I'm turning that adjuster, That's the top adjustment of the cam chain adjustment. And that's a fine adjustment. I want to set that at its loosest point first. Its loosest point is approximately at the 2 o'clock position, if you'll note the punch. Now there's a spring in there that pulls everything tight. So once I've loosened it, I tighten it up. And I know that the cam chain is set. Put the lock nut on and snug it up. I can still feel a little bit of slop. This is where the fine adjustment comes in. You just turn this a little bit, and you can do this with the engine running, and you can listen for the adjustment, but for right now I'm going to turn it to about the 10 o'clock position, and my cam chain's tight, and I'm going to lock this in place. And after I get the motor all back in the bike and fire it up, we'll tweak this in and make it run real sweet. And that's all there is to do to adjust your cam chain adjustment. Here's what a cam chain sprocket looks like if you run them sloppy loose. It really tears them up and it wrecks chains. I had to replace this one on this bike. So that's what you're trying to prevent. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. The Honda XR80 CFR80s and 100s have a fine adjustment and a rough adjustment. Now there's a little dot on here, and if you look close at the picture you'll see it. I marked mine in black so you could. And as long as you're between the 12 and say the 8 o'clock position, you can use this adjustment to adjust your timing chain. And you can do it with the engine running. But if that's not the case, then you need to set this at the 2 o'clock position and use this adjustment first to take the slack out, and then fine tune this with the engine running. So what I'm going to do is start my engine and warm it up a minute. And you can hear some of the little bit of timing chain slap. So all you do is you loosen this and pull. Then you turn this screw. More slap. And if you go too tight, it'll whine. Now it's whining. So what you want to do is you want to turn it till you hear it slapping. Right about there is good. Tighten it up. And that's all there's to adjusting your timing chain. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.